Hey, this is Nick the Mining Book Guy. Today is Monday, August 15th, 2016. I've got a great presentation to share with you. This is on Mundoro Capital, MUN on the TSXV. This is my next, great speculation. And the cool thing is that I really went nuts on this company just in the last 2 weeks, even though I've known about it for over a year. I guess this is a combined disclosure and brief history. There is at least one elite newsletter writer who's been following this for a long time and knows this company, way better than someone like myself. But this is a great example of not necessarily discovering something new, but really honing in on the value gap between the current value of the company and what it really should be, at least in my opinion. I have gone crazy buying, well over 100,000 shares in the last couple weeks. That's the main reason that I, want to share it with you guys here today. This is a stock idea. Do what you want with it, but I have no direct relationship with the company. I only buy in the open market. I'm not an accredited investor. I can't participate in private placements. I think this is useful if you're a newbie, even if you never want to buy anything here. I'm going to try to explain a little bit, but I can always talk to you on ceo.ca at any time, in the next few weeks to describe things in this YouTube. But without further ado, let's get into it, and I will tell you why this is such a great value. So checking out ceo.ca, really important here. You can immediately pick up the market cap, 7 million Canadian, just above that. I was buying more at 5 or 6 million, just so you know. Shares, 40, just over 40 million. Really tight share structure. You can see that the price is currently 16.5. I bought all my shares between 11 cents and 14 cents. But really importantly here, I just scrolling up, it might seem like there's a lot of information here. There really isn't. So despite this company being around for a long time, and really we'll go over just TMX, for basically the last 5 years, they've been doing the same things, same strategy that they have right now. There's just not that many people talking about it. And I really love that. Maybe I'll get into some reasons around that a little later. But there's opportunity here if they're doing something interesting. I'm going to try to pinpoint the most important reasons that I bought in. You don't need to know everything about the company. I think that's what's cool. It's like if you can hone in on the critical details, you can, like, at least for me, that's when I'm like, oh, light bulb's going off. Buy, buy, buy. First one, this is pulled from SADAR. This is just a snapshot of the balance sheet as of Q1 2016. There's usually a lot more to look at. What's great, really small companies, sometimes you can really pick out value immediately. I'm going to go quickly. Just over 5 million in current assets, which is roughly the equivalent of cash. Just over 300,000 total liabilities. I talked to Teo Dechev to figure out the burn rate, and I'm just going to go here real quick. Teo is the CEO of the company. Great person to talk to. I had an excellent phone call with her. I'm going to get back into this by the end of the presentation, but she told me, roughly 75,000 to 100,000 Canadian dollar burn rate per month. I'm going to use the most conservative, which is 100,000. So right now we're a little over 5 months ahead of when this this SADAR announcement came out. So we take 5.3 million minus 3 million, we're at 5 million Canadian. We take off another 500,000, we can even take a little further. Right now, the company has about 4.4 million in cash. I think that's a good conservative estimate. We're going back and checking the market cap again. Okay, 7.2 million. And again, I was buying at 5 or 6 million. So even right now, well over 50% of the company's value is in cash. This company has had a lot of cash for years now, and I think it's put the market into a lull about that. But knowing this, if the company's doing other things of value, you could be sitting on, incredibly undervalued Explorer, and that's what we're going to get into now. So this is a great starting point. I think a lot of people don't realize that was so great. But then you add in this aspect, and this is from the, you know what, I'm going to come back here just to show you. This is from just news, so you can check this on SADAR, but I like it when companies, organize this really well. I've gone through pretty much all of these, going back to 2012 when the company's strategy is changed to where it is now up to 2016. So I just pulled it from there. This was the most important news of this year. So March 7th, Mundoro and JOGMEC signed agreements for exploration of Serbian Timok projects. I'm going to go back here. I mean, this is just, you got to like pick up on these things. Somebody announced it and nobody talked about it. I mean, I love that. Like, this was a big deal. JOGMEC is a serious company. Japan Oil, Gas, and Metals National Corporation. If you've been in the industry for a while, you probably heard of them. I think they're very credible, and they are, in the top short group for companies you want to partner with. I'll give you two other examples. You've got Arena Minerals in Chile. I own some shares in them as well, looking for copper porphyries down there. I think that adds some legitimacy. But another one some people might not be aware of, JOGMEC actually was part of the Japanese consortium that put money into Platte Reef, which is the PGM's project in South Africa. This is all run by Robert Friedland. I mean, JOGMEC's got their hand in a lot of things because they need to find metals, oil and gas, to support Japanese supply. So that's definitely a positive. But then we get into some of the terms of the agreement. When this was made, 3 million USD for about half the company. More importantly, they can earn up to a total of 75% by completing a feasibility study. I mean, there's a lot of money basically that can go into this project if there is a discovery, where Manduro will be free carried, and then they can purchase an additional 5%, and Manduro would still own 20% after getting more money out of it. But really important here is tying this in. Where are they actually drilling? What are they doing? So this is in Serbia, and Serbia is far better than I realized. I mean, there's great infrastructure. This is pulled from one of the recent PowerPoints. But it's not just that you're in a mining area, but this is the Timok Gold Copper Mining District, which not only has a mine that's been around for 100 years, the Bor mine, but it's got Kukarupeki, which is one of the great discoveries of the last 5 or 6 years, made by Reservoir Minerals, which is now part of Nevsun. And it just so happens Manduro has some of the best land around all of these things, and it's just incredible that the market does not pay attention to it. I'm checking out Nevsun's page just to show another image. It takes a while to wrap your head around it, but it's just really phenomenal when you look at it. The orange here, this is part of the Reservoir Freeport agreement, and the discovery was made right here. This is all part of Nevsun now. These yellows were part of Reservoir having a deal with Rio Tinto, another huge company. So, I mean, all of that is great. But I really want to emphasize this isn't just copper, which a lot of people associate with it, the area. Just down here, this isn't a great image, but it tells you a lot. Just in the first resource estimate, PEA, earlier this year, I mean, already in the upper zone, there was well over 2 million ounces of gold along with copper for Reservoir. I really think Manduro needs to be viewed not just as a copper story, but as a copper gold story. And I think that if you do, you'll realize, this is something that should not be overlooked the way it is. Whether it's for JOGMEC or whether it's for the possibilities. But continuing with what's actually going on, July 5th, there was an announcement that there'd be a 3,000-meter drill program, which is nothing to scoff at, and it's on 2 areas which have already shown some promise. So you can look at all these details on your own, but I'm just going to show a few images. So this helps a little bit. You've got all this stuff outlined in black. That's all part of JOGMEC. I'll get back to this in a sec, but this is now part of JOGMEC as well. So there's 4 properties. And you can see there's mines all around these areas. So there's a lot of interesting stuff there. We're honing in, like this great example. There's going to be a couple more drill holes put in. This is just a couple kilometers from the amazing discovery by Reservoir Minerals. And if a lot of people just don't know this, people in the industry who follow this, they just don't know. That's my impression. So whether you're completely new to this or you've been around, realize this is a great district, and there is new exciting drilling going on, very soon. I'm going to go back into the news releases. And so this was just a couple weeks ago, and I should have known more about this, but it's just like anyone else. Sometimes the light bulb goes off, and then you're like, oh, I wish I knew, but good thing I could still buy cheap. This just further enhances the deal. Again, this blue part here became a black outline. So instead of 3 properties, there are 4 properties, and the deal now there's 4 million USD that should be going into drilling in the next 3 years into exploration from JOGMEC. So minimum 1 million USD going in basically right now. And we will have those results by Q4 of this year. But then the following year, we're expecting 1.5 million USD. And then the year after that, another 1.5 million. Now that could be accelerated, but that's the plan. And I'm excited about that because there's real value here. And if there's a discovery, JOGMEC's going to fully fund a ton more of this. So that is all great. But one last thing to emphasize, I really feel that just the stuff I described right now, the cash they have, and this one excellent deal with JOGMEC, the market cap should be at least 10 million just on that. So, as this video is being made, okay, this thing is so undervalued, because there's a lot more coming. But that's probably the best thing to focus on initial value. Now, as another area of value, this is a news release from late last year. First Quantum had an option, and in this option they had 4 properties. And so these 4 properties, you can see Kukarupeki. This is what we were just describing before, but down here to the west are 4 properties that are currently 100% owned by Manduro because First Quantum did not move forward with the option. But I'm going to turn something that I think the market perceived as a complete negative into actually a legitimate positive. First Quantum put in over 5,000 meters of drilling. Now, Manduro did not have to pay cash or equity for this. First Quantum did not make some amazing discovery, and that's part of the reason they dropped out. But also, they were pulling out of exploration programs all around the world. And so, in a way, you could say that Manduro actually got a huge positive here of over 5,000 meters of drilling they didn't have to pay for, and they're using that to their advantage, hopefully to vector in and find their own discovery, using what First Quantum did, and they're going to drill this 100% owned. That's an important point too. That they are not a prospect generator. I like talking to Teo and realizing they're just looking for value creation for shareholders wherever they can find it. They think there's a better chance, better chance for value drilling these 100% right now. Now, depending on what happens, maybe that will lead to a joint venture later, or maybe they'll make such a great discovery with this drilling that they'll want to continue to hold it 100%. But I like it that they're open either way. And if you are a speculator, you might prefer the JOGMEC deal, or you might prefer 100% ownership. You get something either way. So that's a great thing to point out. I'm going to tie that in with what's coming up. This is all part of the Tethyan Belt, and this was an image from a PowerPoint a few years ago, but I want to emphasize this is an underexplored belt, but some of the best discoveries in the world have happened here, including the Kukarupeki reservoir discovery, which was up here in Serbia. So you had Serbia and Eastern Europe up here. You go all the way over and you start getting to Turkey. Well, Mariana Resources made one of the great discoveries with their Hot Madden project in the last couple of years. I think there's a lot more to come, and this goes all the way down into Iran. I just want to emphasize, this. I think this is not only is this a great place to be, but within the belt, I really like it that these guys seem to have picked out some of the best countries. A lot of people do know about Serbia; they don't know about Bulgaria, and I'm getting really excited because I don't think the market gives any value to what Manduro is doing in Bulgaria. And I'm just going to jump into something that's a great example of credibility. This was just last week. Dundee Precious Metals gets construction permit for Krumovgrad. This is a gold mine that is down here. It's very close to Manduro's properties. Basically, I think Bulgaria could be, one of the surprise, stories of the next few years, and there's a lot of prospectivity there. And to continue going, they have 2 properties, 2 targets here, and these are some of these targets are much more advanced than people realize. Manduro's also going to be drilling some of these targets that are 100% owned in the next few months or by the end of the year. And so, as a quick summary, 2 targets in Bulgaria, 3 targets in Serbia, all 100% owned. So that's 5 targets are going to be drilled by Manduro. and it's going to be fully funded by them. It should cost about 1 million Canadian. And as a side point, I think this is really cost-effective drilling. I think they have a really good team, and it's actually, people are knowledgeable in both these countries about mining, and they're actually a lot, more cost-effective than other parts of the world. So that is all a huge positive. So I just threw all this extra stuff at you on top of the JOGMEC. And really, then this value is definitely over 10 million. At least in my mind, it's that becomes kind of a no-brainer once you figure all that stuff out. So let me gather my notes. Now, I've told you a lot of positives. I actually want to describe a couple of competitors. We'll continue with the positives. So we've got Freeport, Nevsun, Rio Tinto, Dundee, Precious Metals. I mean, you've got some big names in the area. I don't know how it's been ignored, but I actually want to take a jump here and describe something that I think it's worth looking into. So we just jumped over to the Yukon, a white gold district. I think that Independence Gold actually has a similar type of play that's more gold focused in this area. And there's other parallels in the sense that Kaminak was just acquired by Goldcorp, and Kaminak's one of the best gold projects. Kukaropeki and in the Timok area with Reservoir, that was one of the best copper gold projects, and both of these were acquired around the same time. Now, even though this is 100% gold and it's in the Yukon, I think there's a lot of similarities also in that Independence Gold was really cashed up. Now I'm looking at this chart, and you can see, by the time you get into April or July, this thing really started to move. And I'm just going to quickly go back, and we're just going to check. There's a little bit of movement with Manduro. I want to make a clear point that I think that Independence Gold started to move even before Goldcorp invested in Independence Gold, partially just because a lot of newsletter writers and are very interested in the Yukon, and also Canadians, obsess about everything in Canada. Anyway, there's no reason to think that Serbia is just some much worse area than Yukon. There's much better infrastructure. There's a lot of things that are more cost effective. You could make a legitimate argument that Serbia is not that far behind the Yukon. Really, there are so many reasons Mundoro should be valued more, but I think this is one of the better ones that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily think about. That's just my personal opinion. But we do need to talk about a few little negatives. This is unfortunate. August 9th, 2016, just last week. So we have a placement that at 12 cents. Okay, it's already trading, at 16 cents. I wish this didn't happen. I understand that the company has reasons to do a placement, beyond, because they don't just need the money, but I think it's going to help, retail trading and all of this and that. The good thing, though, it's right now only planned to be 8 million shares. I mean, the market cap, it's not going to be, break the company at all in terms of dilution, but it is something to be aware of. And for someone, a retail trader like me, it's a little bit of a disappointment. I was buying before it. I mean, notice, I want this thing to move up so that they can do a placement at a higher level. That's kind of taken out in the short term, but I don't think this changes the opportunity at all. It's still a very tight share structure. So not a huge negative, but important to point out. I also know that management owns less than 10%, and it's not easy to verify. I talked to Teo about this. Be aware, their management directors do own a significant amount of the company, but I think it's a little hidden. I think you should talk to Teo about that. I prefer it when it's really open, but that's just not the case with this company. And also, this company's been around for years now, and they haven't made that huge discovery, but really, I think that turns a weakness into a strength. People have gone into a lull. They don't realize how amazing the value is right now, whether it's 7 million or 10 million market cap. And there's just, I guess, a couple other things we can even talk about. If you didn't get anything else out of this presentation, or you got a little bit, but you want to know where do you go from here? Well, I really think whether if this placement goes through, this company should be worth some absolute minimum, something like 10 or 12 million market cap. So it should be closer to 23 or 25 cents Canadian, probably much closer to 15 million or even 20 million. And so then we're getting into like 35 cents or 50 cents Canadian, which is far higher than it currently is. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but those are kind of targets I put for myself. And if it really went up to 50 cents in the next month or so, that would be a huge move. But even then, that's where you need to start looking more into the details of these other projects. And you can tell I'm not a technical person, but I understand there's some really neat copper gold type targets. There's porphyries, epithermal systems. The higher it goes, the more I feel I need to understand. But what's cool is at this level, at this 7 million level, it's kind of a joke. Like for me, it's like that's, as a speculator, you buy. So there are things that are important to look at as the price goes up. But I've got some targets that are, at least 2 or 3 times higher, and I think this company could be legitimately valued. And if they make a discovery, oh man, then it's blue sky from there. So just giving you an idea, like that's how I'm thinking about it. We're gonna have some results in Q4 from JOGMEC. We're gonna have more results that are 100% owned by Mundoro in Q1 of 2017. So there's a lot coming. And to wrap this up with Teo, again, great CEO to talk to. I think she really knows the company. I was really convinced to buy a lot more talking to her. That's not always the case. This was really good. Just type in Manduro on YouTube. You'll see a lot of stuff going back a few years. This adds a lot of legitimacy to the company. Actually, this one you'll find on the company website. It's from the European Gold Forum. I actually think that this was the best video just from a few months ago. But I'm sure they're going to have a lot more stuff soon to show. That the website's going to improve. But just going back to the main page, I mean, after doing some of your own due diligence, you like what you see, give them a call, leave a message. Tia will probably call you back. I don't want a million people calling her at once, but really, you will get great value by talking to her. Again, there are some negatives with the company, but this is my best speculation right now. I'm not buying any more shares because it's already moving. We'll see what happens, but this is something that came out of the blue, and this hopefully you get an idea of how I find value, how I pounce on it, and maybe you'll be able to take advantage of this, whether you're buying the company or just learning about how a good speculation works. So thank you for listening. This is Nick, the Mining Book Guy. Hopefully I'll have more for you soon. Thanks. Bye.